Hello, welcome to Cleekly. Today, we're going to introduce how to achieve the effect of using items through different methods in the game. An item is an object within the game that can be collected by a player or, occasionally, a non-player character. These items are sometimes called pickups. In games such as RPGs, we can use items by clicking, shortcut keys, and in the inventory. In some smaller games, we can use it by approaching the item, such as gold coins in parkour games, or going to certain fixed areas to trigger the use, such as quest items in RPGs. In this tutorial, we will introduce how to achieve the effect of using items through different methods, including clicking to pick up and use in the inventory. Clicking a UI button to use, and approaching to use. The first two methods are available natively in Cleekly. We will focus on the third method and the implementation logic. First, let's do a quick breakdown of the project. The implementation process of this effect can be simply divided into two stages: the player's operations to trigger the item use, and the effect of the item. The effect of the item is a fireworks effect. You can design this effect according to your needs. As we want to design multiple methods for players to use the item, we need a unified entrance to trigger the item effect. The first two methods, clicking to pick up and use, and clicking a UI button to use, are built in Cleekly. We only need to set in the object editor and the UI editor. For the method of approaching to use, we need to design a surroundings detection to check whether the player is near the item and trigger the item use. According to our needs, we can break down the project into three parts. Number 1, effect of the item. Number 2, built-in item use methods. And number 3, surrounding detection and use. Now, let's see how to achieve these functions. The first part is the use effect of item, a fireworks effect. It consists of 4 projectiles, 2 for preparation stage, 1 for rising stage, and 1 for explosion stage. As we introduced before, the fireworks effect will be triggered via multiple ways. A unified entrance is required. Therefore, we design and pack this effect as a function fireworks, with a parameter point to determine the location point of the fireworks. First, we create 2 preparation projectiles, shockwave and flame, at point, 1 by 1. Then, we wait a few seconds for the preparation projectiles to end. Then, we create the rising effect at point. In order to make the effects of fireworks flying to the sky more realistic, we hope that the speed of this rising effect will gradually decrease. So, we store the rising effect we just created as a variable. Then, set 2 variables to store the velocity and height of the firework. Set the initial velocity to be 60, the initial height to be 0. To make the fireworks speed decrease gradually, for each next frame, that is every 0.03 seconds in Cleekly, we set height as height plus velocity, and the velocity as velocity minus 2. Then set the height of the firework to be the variable height. For example, at t0 second, height equals 0, velocity equals 60, and the height of the firework is 0. At t0 plus 0.03 second, height equals 60, velocity equals 58, and the height of the firework is 60. At t0 plus 0.6 second, height equals 118, velocity equals 56, and the height of the firework is 118. We can see that for each next frame, the height of the firework will be 60, 118, 174, 228, and so on. The speed of it is decreasing every frame. Then, we need to check the velocity of the firework. If the velocity equals 0, it means the firework has reached the peak. We wait for 0.3 seconds and create the explosion effect. You can adjust the waiting time for better firework tempo. Lastly, we remove the timer and destroy the projectile variable firework. Now, the function fireworks is completed. We use sequences, loops, and selections in this function. We can create triggers and call this function later to set off fireworks. The second part is the two built-in item use methods. The first method is clicking to pick up and using it in the inventory. This can be achieved in the object editor. First, we need to customize an item, prop 1, and place it on the map. We also need to customize an active ability, set off fireworks. In triggers of the ability, when ability continuous casting ends, we call the function fireworks to set off fireworks at the location point of the ability owner. The second method is clicking a UI to use the item. We can achieve it using UI Editor and Trigger. In UI Editor, we need to design a button for players to interact with and add an event, set off fireworks, for it. It should be visible all the time. Then, we go to Trigger, create a new trigger, button pressed. When the UI event, set off fireworks, is triggered, we call the function fireworks to set off fireworks at the location point of the hero unit. These two methods are built in the editor and are relatively easy to achieve. Let's see how to achieve the third method, approaching to use the item automatically. We can create a new function, surrounding detection, to detect whether there are interactive objects around the hero unit and use them immediately. First, place some items on the map as the interactive objects. We can name the item prop2. Create a variable item group as all the items within a certain range of the hero unit. Then, we traverse the item group to perform the following actions. If the item's type equals prop2, we call the function fireworks to set off fireworks at the location point of the hero unit. We also need to remove the item as the item is already used. Lastly, in Cleekly, the destruction of items may take some time. We need to add a lock to the items to ensure that each item will only be triggered once. Therefore, we add a tag used to the item after using it. An added condition, item selected does not have tag used before performing the actions. In this way, when the item around the hero unit meets the conditions, it will be used only once and locked immediately. Now, we need to set the triggers to call the function surrounding detection, as we want to check the surroundings all the time to detect the interactive items and use them immediately. We need to set a frame timer. When every 0.03 seconds elapsed, that is a frame in Cleekly. We call the function to detect the qualified items around the hero unit and use them. It's all set. Let's test the effect together. Now, it's time to review what we learned today. Today, we introduced how to achieve the effect of using items through different methods. We can click to pick up and use the item in the inventory. We can click a UI to use an item. We can approach an item and use it immediately. We also introduced how to design a fireworks effect as the item's use effect. The method of using items is not limited to items. It can be selecting an option, using a skill, or clicking a UI. They will eventually be integrated and transferred to a unique implementation structure. This structure is an integral part of all games and extends from it. The basic concept of player operation layer, system command layer, and implementation layer. For any player operation, we can convert the player's actual keyboard or other input device operations into virtual system commands. These commands should carry some key information. And finally, the implementation structure reads the information and executes the prescribed procedures. Thanks for watching. See you next time.